Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, hello. Come on in. Join me. I'm a couple of minutes late getting on. I was all set to go, and then I realized the blinds behind me were open and were kind of casting this weird light, which made me look like I didn't have the top of my head. So I had to quickly fix that and then find a catalog. But I'm here now. It's Wednesday, July the 8th, sorry. And I'm here for my weekly Wednesday Facebook Live. Hello, Celia. Nice to see you. So I'm just going to get things set up. I'm going to share this to my Facebook group, which, by the way, if you're not a part of my Facebook group, I will post the link up above. I would love for you to be a part of it. It's just kind of like a smaller community feel there, and I post different projects, specials, tips, polls, different posts to get to know you better. Hello, Jenna. So I'm trying to find this on my Facebook page so that I can share it. And I'm having a little bit of difficulty doing so, but please say hello as you're jumping on. We're going to be playing with a fun bundle in our Stampin' Up! Catalog. It's called Nothing's Better Than. Hello, Chris. It's called Nothing's Better Than, and it features some of my favorite things. Okay, my computer is just being really wonky right now, and it's not letting me do stuff. So I think I'm just gonna leave that for now. Hopefully I can see your comments, but it's just not letting me share the Facebook Live, so I can do that later. Okay, so please do say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Just gonna see who else I can catch before I get started. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Technology is not my friend today. I'm getting these weird lines all across my laptop, but I can still see comments. So let's just leave it as it is before I do anything weird to this. Okay, so as I was saying, we are going to be playing with a bundle called Nothing's Better Than. And it's like this was made for me, and I'm sure many of you would feel the same because it features coffee, cookies, chocolate, and cocktails. And it has the cutest little sentiments. So we're going to be making 3 projects today where I'll show you how you can use some of these fun sentiments. But it's just like, you know, if you are... I think there's just so many different cards and projects and cute little treat packages that can be made with this stamp set. So if you're giving anybody a coffee gift card, or you're giving anybody an LCBO, well, LCBO in Canada is actually, sorry, that's just Ontario. But you know, like a liquor store gift card, if you're giving somebody a bottle of wine, or you're baking some treats, so cookies, or giving someone chocolates, there's just like the possibilities are endless with this set. So I'm definitely gonna, I'll flip this down and I'll show you the stamp set and some of the different things you can do with it. Before I do that, please do say hello when you're logging on. If you're watching the replay, please say that you're watching the replay. If you have any questions at any time throughout the Facebook Live, please feel free to comment below. I try and provide as much information as possible about the products and the ways that I'm creating the projects. But sometimes, and because I've been doing this for 7 years, I might forget to add in a few details. So if you have questions about it or would like measurements, please let me know. If you like the projects and you would like the materials to be able to make the projects, everything that you'll be seeing here is available in my online store. And if you place an order of $35 or more, you will get the projects for free. So I'll show you what the project packets look like before I start making them. So they will come like this, and they will be individually packaged for you, so that, and separated by project. So if you don't have all the different supplies or cardstock colors or other tools being used to be able to make the projects, then if you place a minimum order of $35 or more using the host code, which you'll see as I flip the camera down, then you will be able to get the projects for free in the mail. If your order is $50 or more, you will also get a free embellishment in addition to the project kits, as well as a thank you card from me. So more on that after. I'm going to flip you guys down. Hi, Virginia, and thank you, Jenna. That's very nice of you. I try on Wednesdays to put on a little bit of makeup and stuff, since I know that I'm going to be going live and hanging out with all of you. So I appreciate the compliment. So without further ado, I'm going to flip you down. I'm going to talk about a couple of awesome specials and promotions right now, and then we're going to get stamping, okay? Give me 1 second and just look away so that you don't get dizzy. Sorry, hang on. There we go. Let me just shift this a little bit. I feel like I'm doing this with a little bit more finesse these days, but still don't always have it perfect. I'm just going to get rid of this little pop socket on my phone and just make sure that you can see everything. So here you can see on this little piece of paper. So here are the details if you want the make and takes from today. Place an order of $35 or more, and then $50 or more will get you an embellishment. This is the host code. So when you are checking out, it will ask you if you have a host code. This is the code that you enter, okay? So let's get started. I'm going to share with you some information about some promotions we have going on. So right now is our bonus days promotion, and this is for the month of July. So for every $60 you spend in the month of July, you're going to get a $6 coupon that you can use in August. And our holiday catalog goes live in August. So essentially, if you order anything in the month of July, you'll get some shopping coupons that you can use for next month when our holiday catalog goes live. So that's a great deal. The other thing, speaking of our holiday catalog, our August to December 2020 mini catalog goes live next month. This is actually a month earlier than what's happened in the past. So usually our holiday catalog goes live in September, and this year they're actually starting it a month earlier. There's lots and lots to love in here, and if you are not already a demonstrator and you would like to order from this catalog early, then let me know, because we have a starter kit promotion where you can choose $165 in product and pay only $135, no tax, no shipping, and essentially you choose the product. So you could essentially choose product from the holiday catalog in your starter kit. So what that means is you could actually get $165 in holiday catalog product, and you could pay $135, no tax, no shipping. I have ordered catalogs. They should be arriving tomorrow or Friday. If you would like a catalog, comment below and I will send one to you in the mail. All right, so that is that for announcements, and let's get to the crafting. So today we are going to be featuring this bundle here called Nothing's Better Than. And as I was saying before, there are a few different things that are in here that people tend to love. So cookies, chocolate, coffee, and cocktails. I like them all, actually. I'm a real fan of coffee. And then, of course, there are lots of cute little sentiments that can be used with these larger ones. So you're just like chocolate, you make everything better. So, or a day without coffee is like, just kidding, I have no idea. And then today is a cocktails kind of day. Today's plan, consume cookies, and I'm sure tomorrow will be too. So there's lots of fun little sentiments, and you can mix and match them depending on what you want to say on your project. And then, of course, they have images, and this is a two-step stamp, which means that you can stamp your outline image, and then you can actually fill it in with the coloring part, I guess you could say. So it makes it look like it's colored. So it's two-step, meaning you stamp the one first, and then you'll stamp the second one second, obviously. And we're going to be doing some of that today, so you'll get to see how that works. And then there is a coordinating set of dies. So the stamp set actually has 26 stamps. And then there's a coordinating set of dies, and this die set has 9 different dies in it. So you can see that there are some dies that cut out the images perfectly. And then there are some script dies. So love you more than, and you can pair that with any of the words in the stamp set or even more of the words in here. And then there's coffee, cookies, cocktails, and chocolate. Now these dies don't cut out the words in the stamp set. So if you wanted to cut these out, you would have to use your scissors and fussy cut those. But they should be pretty easy to fussy cut. But also if you wanted just the word, you could cut that out of cardstock. So you'll get to see how some of that is used today. Celia, you love this set. I know I do too. I've just started playing with it. But I love it already, and I see lots and lots of possibilities. So let me show you the projects we're going to be making. And if you have a copy of the annual catalog, it's on page 91 well, 90 and 91 of the annual catalog, and you can see that there are some cute projects here. And it also shows you that the die set is on page 176, and if you turn to page 176, I should have tape flagged these. If you turn to page 176, you can see that there's actually another sample here. So I love the way our new catalog is set up, where they will actually show you multiple samples using the same bundle. So here's where the bundle is located, and you can see that there are lots of different samples, and there's also one here. So you can see this project here, there's probably a coffee shop card in there. So for us, it would be Tim Hortons or Starbucks. And you can make a cute little gift card holder for that. So I'm going to show you some fun projects. Now, the bulk of the projects that we're going to be making today, I would say, are probably more for the casual or avid crafters. So chances are you might have a die cutting tool and probably multiple ink colors and multiple tools. But there are ways that you can vary the projects to make them a little simpler. Having said that, I also created a really cute project that is really perfect for a beginner stamper. So this is using just our note cards and envelopes. So these measure 3.5 by 5. And this one doesn't actually involve any kind of die cutting, but it does use a little punch, which is optional, of course. You could just cut out a rectangle and stamp on there. So I just stamped coffee kind of day. You could add on today is a coffee kind of day. You could put a little coffee gift card in here. But all I've done here is I've stamped the coffee mugs a few times using black ink, and then I used some other colors to stamp the insides of them. Okay, so that is that's kind of all there is to it. So you can create some really simple cards. So this stamp set, while I said the projects I'm making today are kind of more for an avid stamper, you could absolutely use this and make some really cute cards, even if you're a beginner or even if you've never stamped before. This is something that's quite easy to learn, and these projects are really easy to make. So let me show you the projects we're going to be making today. So there are 3 really cute projects. So this one here, A Day Without Cookies, is like, just kidding, I have no idea. And then this one here, it has cocktails stamped all over the background because adulting is hard. And oh my goodness, I am finding adulting really, really hard this summer because we're not, you know, involved in our typical activities and camps and programs and things like that. So it's definitely a bit of a harder season, but we are definitely enjoying the slower pace of life and the time together. And then lastly, this project here, You're Just Like Chocolate, You Make Everything Better. Now this is actually a sample that Stampin' Up! Had shared with us this week, and I just thought it was too cute not to recreate. So hopefully this is new for most of you, and you'll get to watch me put this together. But there's a lot of cute elements to this. And of course, if I had time to run out to the grocery store or any kind of shop, I would have put some chocolate truffles in here, but I am trying to stay out of the stores as much as possible. So let's start, and I'll just show you actually one other project here. This used sponge daubers, and I used a technique where basically I used a water brush or water painter, and then I just splattered some water onto these circles just to create some bubbles, and then I stamped and cut out each of the cocktail glasses. So that's another fun little technique you can do with that. So we'll start first with this card here, which says, today is a day without cookies is like, I'm just kidding, I have no idea. So I've already prepared some of the materials in here, and I've already even stamped some of the cookies so that you don't have to watch me stamp, and cut out 7 of them. Hello, Kelly. Thank you for joining, everybody. It's great to have you guys here. So we'll start by just folding the cardstock. I've already scored that. This is just a regular card base, which is 5.5 by 4.25. And then I've taken a piece here, which is embossed with the, oh my goodness, it's something textile. If anyone knows this, please help me out here. It's in the In Good Taste suite of products. So if anyone can think of the name, let me know. But it's just a really kind of nice texture to it. It's gonna come to me probably as soon as I finish this video. Okay, so I've just taken this piece of petal pink and I've just cut it at an angle, so it's just creating a little bit of interest here. And what I did with the circles is I just used the layering circles dies, and I cut out one using our In Color Designer Series paper, and then I did one just a little bit larger in the coordinating cardstock. So this is Bumblebee. And I'm just going to stick this down and just get this kind of set up here so that I don't lose the pieces. I'm gonna kind of put that about this high. All right, and now I'm gonna show you how to stamp and cut the cookies. So I've already done 6 of them. I've put 7 total on the card, and I'm using my soft suede ink. So I'll start first by stamping the outline image, and I'm just going to stamp that like so. I'm actually going to do 2 just in case I mess one up. And now I'm taking sort of the filling part, and instead of stamping in full strength, I'm going to stamp that off, and then I'm going to look for the general outline of that cookie and then stamp that down. So that turned out pretty good. I'll just stamp the other one just so I have it lying around. And now I'm going to pull in the Big Shot, and I'm going to cut this out. So let me move this out of the way. And I'm just going to set this down on my Big Shot, and I'm going to get the coordinating die. So you can see this die cuts it out perfectly. So you just want to line that up, which is really easy to do. And if it's, some of the ones that I cut were a little bit off, and that's okay because I'm layering them, so it's okay if they're a little bit off. So I'm just going to run that through. And then I've got my little cookie. So it definitely beats hand cutting this or fussy cutting it because I am a little bit of a lazy stamper. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to stick these down. So I've got 7 cookies here, and I'm just going to, I want to create the appearance of a plate of cookies. So I'm just going to stick these down. And again, they don't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of putting all the sort of the bitten side inwards. Because if you were giving somebody a plate of cookies, you probably wouldn't want them to have bites out of each of them. So that's about 6. And then the last one, I'm going to use a dimensional to stick that on. And I'm going to just angle it that way so that it's covering the bitten piece from the other one. Okay, I'm going to put this away so I don't lose it. And I'm just going to, Tasteful Textile. Thank you, Kelly. I really appreciate your help on that one. So that's this embossing folder. It's called Tasteful Textile. Now, Kelly, did you have to look that up or did you have that off by heart? For some reason, the products in that suite, the In Good Taste, I always get the names confused for the stamp set and then the paper and the embossing folder, and then there's elements, and they all have kind of slightly different names, so they kind of confuse me. All right, so I am now, so I've cut out the word cookies, and I think actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to lift this up and hope that I don't rip anything. I kind of want this a little off to the side so that I don't have to put the word cookies so low. So there we go. I've just used my liquid glue, and then I've got the tiny little dot on the eye, so I'm just going to put a little dab of glue here, and then I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to try and flip this little guy over, and then I'm just going to stick that down. So I'm just using the putty end of the Take Your Pick tool, which is really good for these tiny little pieces. And then I'm going to stamp the rest of the sentiment, which says, a day without blank is like, just kidding, I have no idea. So what I did here actually, and I've got them both on the stamp, they're 2 separate stamps. I first started by putting my stamp above and below where I wanted it to be, and then I picked it up with my block. So that just helped to make sure that I had it all lined up. Okay. Oh, thanks, Kelly. I appreciate that. Okay, so now I know that it's spaced out where I need it to be. I just want to get it straight, more or less. And that looks pretty good. So a day without cookies is like, just kidding. I have no idea. And I will say here, I don't eat cookies every day. I have eaten them more often than I did pre-COVID, but I don't eat them every day. I do have coffee every day, however. I don't know if I need it or I think I need it, but I start off every day with a coffee. And actually what I've been doing recently is I've been having my coffee on my front porch. So some of you may know that I was supposed to be going on the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip to Maui. We were supposed to be leaving on July 3rd, so we would actually be in Maui right now. And unfortunately that trip was canceled, or sorry, I should say postponed to next year. And so I was feeling a little bit bummed because I couldn't be in Maui. And so, and we didn't have any patio furniture, and definitely needed tropical pillows, which I bought from Lowe's, and they're super cute. And so when I see them, they make me feel like I'm in a tropical place. So I'm just trying to make lemonade out of lemons, and it's been really nice. But yeah, so anyway, that's my new coffee routine, is to have it on my front porch. Okay, so what do you guys think of this card so far? I'm adding the Bumblebee gingham ribbon to this card to just add, again, a little bit of interest. You could embellish this with some jewels and gems if you liked, but I felt like the cookies and then the embossing of the petal pink cardstock kind of just steals the show. So I didn't want to add too much sparkle to this one. So that is card number 1. Okay, so here's the sample, here's the one we just made. And I will say, when you're tying your bow, you want to make sure that it's not extending too far off the side, because it does make it a bit difficult to fit it into an envelope. So I'm just going to trim that down, and there you go. That's card number 1. And then let's do card number 2. I just want to make sure that everything is still working here. Hello, Betsy. All right. Looks like everything's still functioning. Okay, so we are now going to do this card here, and this one has cocktails stamped all over the back of it. And then it says, because adulting is hard. So I'm just going to get the package for this and the materials I need to make it. So I've packaged everything in baskets now, because in my last couple of Facebook Lives, I was losing things. So here we go. So I'm going to show you first how to do the two-toned effect of these drinks, okay? So you can see that there's a two-tone, there's sort of a pinkish and a yellow, and then in this one there's a green and an aqua color. So I'm just taking my Whisper White. Again, this is a 2-step stamp, so I'm going to start by stamping it in black ink. So just going to do that a couple of times, like so. Okay, and I'll show you how to get that two-tone effect with your, where is my Granny Apple Green? Okay, here we go. Okay, so we'll start with the first one. To make sure I have the inside of that stamp. All right. So first, so if you're using two tones, you want to start by stamping in the lighter color, the lighter of the two, okay? So I'm going to start by stamping in the Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to take my stamp and I'm going to ink that up in the Daffodil Delight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sponge dauber, and I'm just going to add some ink to the bottom of this. It'll kind of blend on its own. And then I will line it up over the glass and just stamp that down, okay? So this looks like, you know, just a fun tropical drink, kind of like a, I don't know. I don't tend to drink sweet drinks, so I don't know what this looks like. Maybe a Bellini. If anyone's had a drink that looks like that before, tell me what it would be called. I'm going to clean this off just because I'm now going to be stamping in the blues and greens. So I will start by stamping in the Granny Apple Green. So this one is a little intense, so I'm actually going to stamp it off first, and then I'm going to take my Coastal Cabana, and then same thing, just add some ink to the bottom. These look fun, don't they? There we go. I will leave my Coastal Cabana close by because I'm going to stamp the back of that. But before I do that, let's get these colored up. And I should close this, otherwise my hand will inevitably land in it. So I'll start by coloring the lines. I'm using Granny Apple Green and Magenta Madness Stampin' Blends, and I'm going to start with the dark. And I'm just going to color in the peel of the lime, and I'm going to actually color in, or just sort of draw a line just inside where the flesh of the lime would be. And then do the same thing on this one, and then I'm going to use the light and blend that together, okay? So you could do these all one color if you wanted. I like that slightly blended effect. And if you wanted the sort of middle of the flesh to look even a little lighter, you could take the color lifter and then just go over the center of the lime, and that's just going to give you an even, like, just a little bit more dimension. Okay, so that's that. I am really having trouble with my computer here, so I'm no longer seeing comments. If you are commenting, so I apologize if I'm not responding. So I'm now going to use the Magenta Madness and color in the umbrella. There is actually a stamp. This is part of the two-step stamping. You can actually stamp right over this with any other color, but I liked the idea of having some dimension to this, so I wanted it to go lighter and darker. I'm almost done with this. And I'm just using the pointy tip of the blends here. You could use any colors you want on this. So if you don't have the Magenta Madness, or you don't have any of the color blends that I've used, I mean, you could really do anything with this. Any bright colors would do. And let's cut this out. So I'm gonna look for my dies again. Oops. And this time I'm gonna take the little drinking glass and pull my Big Shot back in. Just put this away. Okay, so I'm just going to line this up on my Big Shot. Hopefully you can still see that. It's a big honking tool on my desktop right now. And I'm just going to roll this through. I'm going to cut out 2 of them. And again, if you don't have the Big Shot, or you don't want the dies, these shapes are not actually too hard to cut out with scissors. You just want to make sure that you're using our paper snips, because they are the best scissors for fussy cutting. The blade is really sharp and short, so it really just gives you the opportunity to be really precise when you're cutting. Okay, so we've got our little drinking glasses, and I think it's time to assemble the card. I'll just move that out of the way and take out the other pieces here. I should put this away before I lose it. Okay, so I'm just going to take the rest of this out. Actually, we have to stamp our background. So what I've done here, you could use the Stamparatus, which is our stamp positioning tool, if you have it. I just wanted to show you how to do this without using that tool, okay? So you can eyeball this pretty easily. What I did was I laid my stamp on an angle onto the back of my cardstock. I'll show you how I did that. So I did this on an angle like so, and then I took my block and I lined it up with the grid paper. So I'm lining it up with the lines on my grid paper. And now if I want to just make sure that it's kind of in the same plane, I'm just going to make sure that one edge of my block is lined up with the vertical lines of my grid paper. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So I'm just eyeballing the left side of my block to make sure that it's lined up with the left with the vertical lines on my grid paper. So you want to keep your cardstock along one of the lines there. And that just gives you a more or less straight stamp there. So you don't actually have to use the stamp positioner, although you will get more precise stamping if you do it that way. Clearly I can't stamp and talk at the same time. Almost done here. I made this card yesterday for a friend of mine who is turning 50 next week. It's my friend Jen. So I bought her a bottle of wine and made her this card. And I just loved the way it turned out, so I wanted to recreate it for today's Facebook Live. Okay, so we've got our card base, which is Whisper White Thick cardstock. And I'm just going to adhere. So the black layer here is 4 by 5 1/4, and then I've cut 1/8 of an inch shorter for my Coastal Cabana. And I'm mixing up my adhesives. I'm using some Stampin' Seal and some Stampin' Seal Plus, depending on what I can find, and I like them both. Have you been using any of the new adhesives? If you have, tell me what you think of them. Before I stick this on, I'm just going to tie some linen thread. So again, I mean, these are just samples and ideas, but you can, you can step them up or you can simplify them as much as you'd like. So the linen thread is not a necessity. It's just, I love using linen thread. So I'm just wrapping this around 3 times, and I'm just going to tie this in a bow on the left side of my cardstock. And then fiddle with the loops until I get them to the size I want and the orientation, and then cut off the ends here. And then I'm just going to stick this onto my card base. Okay. This will go here. And I just love the small, kind of the small black, like the outline of the black showing here, and I think that coordinates nicely with the rest of the black that I'm using on the card. So let me put these on. So here is one of the glasses, here's the other. And for this label shape, I use the Hippo and Friends dies, which when I heard the name, I just assumed it had all the dies that cut out our hippo and unicorn in that new stamp set. But it turns out that there's some awesome labels in there, and I am totally a sucker for dies that have labels in them. So I'm just using a little bit of our Daffodil Delight ruched ribbon to add just a pop of color here. And then I did cut this out, but I realized I don't need it. And I've also, I've heat embossed this in white. So this sentiment that says, because adulting is hard. So I'm just going to use my scissors to trim this down. And just trim that down. Now we have our Stampin' Up! Mini Dimensionals, but I find those still a little bit too big to put behind these small pieces that I'm using for the sentiment. So what I'm doing is I'm using our black dimensionals, and I'm just actually cutting them really, I'm cutting the border into really small pieces. And I'm just going to, what did I do with my, here we go. So I'm just going to stick that onto the back here. Just these tiny little bits. And let me do this one on the, there we go. Okay, I will stick this on in a second. And I'm going to just add on some dimensionals. And I'm putting them right at the top and then one right at the bottom, because I don't want it in the middle where it'll sit on top of the linen thread and make it a little off balance. So you could use the regular dimensionals on this as well. I just had the black out, so I am using those. And then just gonna, actually, I can pull these off with my fingers. And stick on the sentiment. What do you guys think of this card? Isn't it so fun and vibrant? Does it make you feel like you're in a tropical place? It certainly did that for me. And then the last thing that we're going to do is just add on some rhinestones. So I'm just going to grab my take your pick, and I'm going to do 5 here. So when you're adding on your embellishments, you should always do them in odd numbers. I usually do 3, but today I'm going to do 5 because, you know, a little extra bling never hurt anybody. And there is the finished card. What do you think? It's pretty cute, eh? And I love the pop of magenta madness here. I just find this so fun and vibrant and funky. Thank you. Hi, Maureen. Hi, Anise. Hi, Brenda, Shelly. Thank you so much for joining. We are playing with the Nothing's Better Than bundle, and we're having a lot of fun with it. And we are on to our last project. So for those of you that are just joining, hopefully you can catch the replay, but I will show you the first project we did. So this is the one with the cookies, and then we've done the cocktails, and now we are moving on to chocolate. And I am actually running out of space on my desk. So as I start to craft, everything seems to kind of close into the center. So give me a second to move some of these things. And then we will move on to the third project. So thanks for sticking with me, guys. It's so fun to have company while I'm crafting. I love these Wednesday Facebook Lives. All right, so we're gonna move on to the last project here. And this is a treat package. So the first 2 that we've done are cards, and then the last one is going to be a treat package. So you could fill this with chocolate truffles or chocolate bars or anything chocolate would work. So this is the project here. And this is using our mini paper pumpkin boxes. And for those of you that don't know what paper pumpkin is, it's our craft in a box. So it's basically a subscription box that has all the materials you need in it for kind of a really quick and easy crafting project. So you don't need a lot of tools, and basically everything that you need for a crafting project comes in there. But our paper pumpkin boxes have been used quite often and repurposed for treat packaging. So Stampin' Up! Came out with these cute mini paper pumpkin boxes. So they come in a package of 10. Everything is already cut and scored for you. Sorry, it's cut and scored. You just want to make sure that you fold on all the score lines, which I've already done. And then when you want to assemble, you're just going to bring these flaps in, and you're just going to fold this over like so. And then the little ends tuck into these little slots here. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And so let's pretend that I've filled this with your favorite truffles. There are mint and strawberry and dark chocolate ganache truffles in here, okay? So we're gonna pretend here for a few minutes, just like I'm pretending I'm in Maui. And then I'm going to take, so this is our In Good Taste Designer Series paper, which has all sorts of fun patterns on it. And I'm using the one that looks kind of like a beige sweater, and I just love the warmth of this. So I'm just actually starting kind of in the center here, and I'm just going to use my hands. If you were watching when I did the Zany Zebras one, I did something similar with the Designer Series paper. So you're not actually going to score the Designer Series paper, you're just using your fingers to kind of create your own score lines, just making sure that everything looks more or less aligned with the sides of the box. You don't really want it crooked. So I'm going to do the same thing here. You don't want it too tight because you don't want people to have to rip it open to get to the goodies that are inside, but you also don't want to leave it too loose either, okay? So I'm just going to kind of create my own score lines here, and then I'm going to use some of my Stampin' Seal Plus, And then I'm going to adhere that, not, like I said, not too tight, but not too loose. So just want to make sure that the edges are lined up. All right, so that's the box. And then before I stamp and assemble, I'm actually going to color my lace trim. So you want to measure about 22 inches. So I'm just going to grab my ruler, and to wrap it around the box and have a bow, you want it measuring about 22 inches. So hang on one second here. I've got 12, and then I'm doing another 10. I'll cut that out. And then I want to color this with my Rococo Rose, my dark Rococo Rose blend. So you're just going to take the side of your brush tip, and you're just going to run it across your lace trim here. So I'm just coloring this. And I love this lace trim because you can color it in any color that you have the blends in. You can also use a sponge and ink. I find this a little bit easier, and it just gives it a really nice even color. You could also use a spritzer with some alcohol and then drops of our ink refill, and then you could also color it that way. But I think that's a little messier. I've also seen, I can't remember if it was on Instagram or Facebook, but somebody had taken a jar, like a mason jar with alcohol, and put some drops in, and then they just took some of the ribbon and threw it in the jar and then just let it ink up. But then you can just imagine you'll have to take that out, you'd have to hang it to dry, it would just be a little bit of a mess. Okay, so I am now going to grab the rest of my pieces while I'm waiting for the ribbon to dry, and we will assemble the rest of it. So you can see here that I've die cut the word chocolate, and I've punched out the hearts here, and I've already cut out a couple of the truffles. So I'm going to do the other two here. And I'm using Pear Pizzazz ink for this one. Okay. Thank you, Kelly. I just saw your comment. I've managed to refresh my computer, so I'm seeing comments again. So tell me what you think of these projects so far. Tell me if you have the stamp set, and if you do, what kinds of fun things have you been making with it? I would love to hear some ideas around different ways this can be used. So I'm just stamping off with the second of the two-step images, and I'm stamping them on the inside. And I'm going to quickly bring my Big Shot in for the last time and cut these out. I should better move these out of the way. We are almost done, just on to the last project, and we are in the home stretch. So hopefully you can hang on for a little longer and see the finished project. So again, I'm just taking my Big Shot, lining these up. I'm a little off on the stamping, but that's okay, it's handmade. And I'm pretty sure once someone opens it and sees all the chocolate in there, they won't notice. We'll do that one more time. All right. So here is our other set of truffles. Tuck this away. So I'm sure many of you already do this if you've been stamping for a while, but I always get the magnet sheets from Dollarama, and then I move my dies onto the magnet sheets because it just prevents them from, I don't have to pull them up off of the two-sided tape so hard. Okay, so we've got our little chocolate truffles here, and I've got my ribbon, and so here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and my sentiment says, "You're just like chocolate, you make everything better." And I'm just stamping this on the heart punch, I can't remember what these are called, but they are a set of 2 punches. One is a scalloped heart, and then the other one is just a smooth heart. So again, I lined up the stamps to make sure that I had room for my chocolate in there. And I'm just going to poke out these little bits here. Just get these out. And then I'm just going to use my liquid glue to stick this on. And I'm just going to put the glue kind of in the center of the word. I don't want to put it on the ends because I don't want it to stick to anything else. So I'm just going to eyeball this, and I'm going kind of from the H to the T. I'm just putting up, oops, a little bit, little dots here. There we go. You're just like chocolate. Chocolate really does make everything better. And then because I've used my liquid glue, I have a little bit of time to move things around. I think I kind of want that L a little bit lower. Okay, made a little bit of a mess here, but that's okay. And now I'm going to stick this on to the larger scalloped heart here. And we are getting there. We are almost done. So my ribbon should be fairly dry now, and I'm going to just wrap it around. I'm kind of going, if you're looking at the box horizontally, I'm kind of on the left third of the box, if that helps. So I'm not doing it right in the center. So just gonna tie that. And then I see that one of my ends is a little too long, so I'm just going to snip that. And I want it on a little bit of an angle because I'm going to cover part of it with the hearts. So before I do that, I'm going to put on my little chocolates, and I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal, and I'm just going to stagger them. There's no real rhyme or reason or method to my madness. I'm just sticking these kind of sporadically on the box. What is your favorite kind of chocolate? For those of you, are you guys all chocolate lovers? What's your favorite kind of chocolate? I'm really interested in knowing. I would say my all-time favorite chocolate would be Laura Secord French Mint, which unfortunately it's hard to find that anywhere these days. And then there's also Purdy's chocolate, and they make a mint chocolate as well, which I really like. So I'm a huge fan of mint. I don't find that the Aero mint chocolate is, I don't mind it, but I don't love it as much. I'm a real fan of the Laura Secord. Okay, so there we go. What are your favorite kinds of chocolate? I don't discriminate. I really do like all chocolate. Okay, so looking for my dimensionals here, and we are almost done with this project. So I want this to kind of be, the last time I did it, it ended up on the knot, and that made it pop up a little too much. So I'm just going to, do this a little bit lower this time. I'm going to toss these out. Maybe I'm going a little higher with my bow, and I'm not loving where this one ended up. I want this a little bit lower so that it shows, and this is going to go right here. Okay, so that is the finished project. I did it a little bit differently in terms of where the bow is positioned, but that is the third project. So we did 3 today. And I'm just going to pull them back in and show you. So this is number 3. Oh, Kelly, the Laura Secord one was your favorite. Oh, goodness. You know what I noticed when I was in Winners a while ago, or maybe it was HomeSense or Marshalls, they had right next to the cash register, they had a box where they were selling Laura Secord chocolates, and they had the French mint. This is months ago, so I haven't seen them anywhere since. I wonder if you could get them online somewhere. I'm actually going to check, because now that I've talked about it, I have a craving for it. Okay, so these are the 3 projects. This was the first card we did with a plate full of cookies, and it says, a day without cookies is like, just kidding, I have no idea. Project number 2 is a fun, bright little cocktails card that makes you think you're on vacation somewhere. You could also make a tag like this, and if you were giving somebody, you know, like a bottle of wine, or I know they sell sangria in a bottle and all sorts of other interesting drinks now, you could put a tag for that. That would make a really nice hostess gift. Of course, you could also put in an LCBO gift card, or you know, whatever your liquor store gift card is, if you're giving that as a gift. And then of course this one you would have to fill with chocolate, and this would make a really nice gift. Again, another nice hostess gift, or just, you know, something to brighten somebody's day. So those are the projects. Oh, thank you, Jenna. I loved it too. I thought that was really fun, and I love the colors of that. So I'm just gonna flip you guys back my way so I can say bye. There we go. All right. Welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope you guys enjoyed watching those projects come to life. And like I said, if you want to order any of the products to make the projects, if you place a minimum $35 or more order, I will send you these make and take projects for free in the mail. And if you have any questions, or if there's anything that I can help you with, please let me know. I'm Zara Premji, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Markham, and I've really appreciated you being here with me. And I hope you guys all have a fantastic day and rest of the week, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye for now.